Much has been written about Hurricane Katrina following the aftermath of the storm. In his book, The Great Deluge, best-selling author Douglas Brinkley, a professor of history at Tulane University, rips the story apart and relates what Hurricane Katrina was like from every point of view. MPB's Gene Edwards visited with Douglas Brinkley at his New Orleans home as he traced the character flaws, inexperience, and ulterior motives that allowed the Katrina disaster to devastate the Gulf Coast.
A lot of Mississippians, though, still feel like they're ignored in all this, that all the attention still is on New Orleans, and there's this wasteland that used to be the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Well, they're not wrong. I've been very upset at the fact that Mississippi has been delegated to some sort of second-class crisis status where everybody focuses on New Orleans. It's almost as if it's become a reality TV show in New Orleans with the mayor and city council and the corrupt police department, and you know, a lot of the media stays in New Orleans, goes for a great meal in town, stays at a great hotel. It's easy assignment for them. Mississippi's where the focus needs to be. The entire Gulf Coast wiped out, town after town after town, people still living in FEMA trailer villages. The rebuild hasn't really commenced. Looks like casino gambling might be a big help to the Gulf Coast in the future, and a new airport, but there's a long ways to go. And I think on the one hand, Haley Barbour, the governor, and Trent Lott and Thad Cochran have done a pretty good job of finding money for Mississippi and constantly trying. Can't criticize them for what they're doing, but the media has not focused, with some exceptions. Joe Scarborough and MSNBC's try to focus on Mississippi quite a bit. Shepard Smith of Fox, who's from Holly Springs,
NPR's done a wonderful job.
NPR's done a wonderful job. So they're there. But by and large, Mississippi needs to be addressed in a much more serious fashion. I don't know of a region that got devastated in American history. I mean, the San Francisco earthquake would be the only thing comparable to what happened in the Mississippi Gulf Coast, where you just have all of your main structures wiped out.
In your book, you talk about what it would have been like for Steinbeck to write about this situation, or what it would have been like for Hunter Thompson to write about this situation. Did you wonder what Stephen Ambrose might have?
I did, and Stephen Ambrose's spirit was in my book, The Great Deluge, a lot, because I always loved his book, D-Day and Citizen Soldiers, Band of Brothers. And what he would do is do a lot of oral history interviews, tell the real story of the real people, and then mix that with government documents or with journalism or other historical accounts. So my book, I was thinking of Steve a lot and trying to let the people tell the stories. The citizens of Mississippi have their day. Citizens of Louisiana have their days. He used to always tell me to write a book on Camille. He used to say, it's a perfect book. It's the biggest storm to ever hit North America. It started as a swirl of sand over the Sahara and then hit Bay St. Louis. And it was always in my mind to write about that. Well, Katrina has made Camille look like you know, a minor league event. Even as bad as it was, Katrina was much, much worse.
You had to be afraid for your own life, right?
You know, I wasn't. I had a lot of adrenaline going. I was flipped on in Houston, the television, and saw this sight of no help coming into New Orleans, and they had quarantined the city off, but I had a press pass, could easily get back and forth. So I meant to come and try to cover a little bit of what happened, take notes, and immediately, as a lot of journalists did, that you got brought into having to rescue people and putting your work beside.
It's amazing what you can do, like you said, in those helter-skelter moments when everything goes wrong, and then you have wonderful mayors like Tommy Longo and Favre and all those guys.
Unbelievable job, I feel, the mayors of Mississippi Gulf Coast did. You know, Eddie Favre was a major character I write about in my book. He's such a good mayor, and he immediately got a construction truck and went out and started getting people out of flooded buildings and out of trees. The Hancock County Hospital stayed open around the clock. They had flooding on their first floor. The roof peeled off on the third floor, so they all had to convene in the second floor. But they had, under the CEO there, Hal Leftwich, a open door policy, bring anybody from Hancock County in. So the doctors there stitched up over 800 people that had wounds of shrapnel, flying debris, that had, you know, either damaged their face or head. You had a lot of people with cut hands because they were clinging to trees and railroad tracks. And I think the first response from Mississippi was extraordinary, from city officials, from police, fire, and then the private sector came in strong, and faith-based groups. It was FEMA that was delinquent.
One of the things that we hear over and over is better than ever, build back better than ever. Is it ever really going to be better than ever?
No, it'll be different than it was before. It won't be better. You know, different places have their glory days. I think the Mississippi Gulf Coast from about 1975 to 2005 was an extraordinary place to be. We rebuilt from Camille. The coast was starting to get national attention as a adult entertainment center. It was also a big family center. The beaches there, new housing developments coming up. I think it's going to be different now. People will rebuild, but it's going to be a different kind of architecture. I think you're going to have a lot more homes where water comes in and out, we've lost a lot of our great historic structures along the Gulf Coast, and it'll be a different Mississippi Gulf Coast. But whether it'll be better than those salad decades there heading into that were there before Katrina, I doubt it. I think it's made a lot of people the scar of Katrina. It's such a traumatizing event that I think it's going to take a generation or two to really heal those wounds. It's been traumatic for people. A lot of people lost everything. What I am both inspired and shocked by is how many people in Mississippi I've talked to. I'll just pick one community, Waveland. As you know, it's just got flattened. I've talked to a lot of people say, we're rebuilding. I was born in Waveland or born near there. I grew up there. I have relatives buried here. I've worked at the city there. I worked in this job there, and it's home. Home means a lot to people. That's one of the things I learned from this book, the sense of home place. They don't want to move to Jackson. They don't want to move to Hattiesburg. They want to stay on the water's edge, and they plan on doing it. It was a way of life down there where you could take a boat out and fish, and every day you see the sun rising on the Gulf or even storms on the Gulf, and it becomes part of your personality when you live upon an area as dramatic and beautiful as the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And people are refusing to abandon it in a lot more measure than I thought. And so it'll be interesting to see how those intransigent people, those dedicated souls are able to rebuild their cities, and it'll be an ongoing drama over the next decade.
What's the one insight that you're going to take from all this?
Well, there are many, but one is that you've got to take care of your neighbors. You've got to take care of your own community, that there's not a magic cavalry flying in from the sky that's going to come to the rescue in a disaster, no matter what kind of disaster it is. And you have to be personally prepared. You have to have water. You need to have your important family photographs and files all in one place ready to go for evacuation. A lot of people just got out at the last minute and left everything in their house, and now they wish they would have saved their files or their wedding photos or their heirlooms. So you've got to take some personal thinking. If you're going to live in a hurricane zone, what are you going to do when the warning comes? A, you need to get out of there, and B, try to find transportation, a way to bring your most cherished possessions with you, because there's a good chance you're not going to have anything left when you return.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.